There has been a lot of talk about the Global Capability Centers or GCCs moving up the value chain. They've had a quiet yet powerful transformation. To find out more, I'm here today at BP's Global Capability Center in Pune, where the story has evolved in a very interesting way, from supporting traditional support functions to being an integral part of core business today. They have truly evolved. I'm delighted to be joined by Varsha Singh, who leads this center, to talk about this incredible journey. Varsha, it's a pleasure to speak with you, and thank you for hosting us at this beautiful BP office.
Thank you, Aman. I'm really looking forward to the conversation today. So it's great to have this opportunity.
Varsha, thank you. And my first question to you really is about how you set the center up. You came in at a time to set up the center at a very difficult time, which was during the pandemic. From those early days to today, the center has evolved into a multifaceted, multidisciplinary, highly scaled up center. Walk us through a little bit about your journey and some of the key success factors which have led to this incredible growth.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been an incredible journey. As you know, we started during the pandemic a little over 5 years ago. And just in this short period of time, we have scaled very rapidly to become a multifunctional, multidisciplinary business and technology center. I think this rapid pace of acceleration was only possible because of few factors which I'm incredibly proud of. The first thing is the determination and the resilience of our teams and the leadership, that despite such challenging circumstances, we were able to set and scale the center up, and our ability to stabilize the operations in a very, very short period of time built confidence in our stakeholders and established trust. So I think this was really important for us in the early stages. What we also did is that we consciously invested in deep capability and expertise, which meant that our teams were able to solve business problems as we encountered them and found end-to-end solution. So capability was really key, but along with capability, a strong investment in culture was very important. Building that engagement with the team, ensuring that they felt part of this journey, establishing trust, as well as excitement and energy around this journey was really important for us in the beginning. And that has served us well, and which is why today we are quite an integral part of BP's strategy as well as the transformation journey.
That's interesting, Varsha. You spoke a lot about team, the culture, scaling up at this pace, building this center. I'm sure people is a key cornerstone of your strategy. Tell us a little bit about your people strategy.
So yes, people is the key and the cornerstone of our industry and our operations. I think, like I mentioned, investing in deep expertise was very intentional because we wanted to develop potential of our people, ensure that they were adaptable to the upcoming challenges and the needs of the business as well as technology. And the digital mindset is something that we consciously looked for in our people. So curiosity, digital mindset, adaptability, this was key and fundamental to, this journey that we've had. And of course, we have invested in talent through various initiatives, whether it is through learning programs, whether it is through career fairs, through growth weeks, focusing on future skills like human skills, commercial skills, and of course, AI and technology skills. So upskilling is going to be something that we are going to continue to focus on. The industry and the business is evolving very fast in a very dynamic world. We're all excited about the AI opportunity, which means our people need to embrace and feel excited and energized about this opportunity. And I can see a lot of passion in people to learn and develop themselves and jump at that opportunity. And I think that becomes the real flavor of why we can be an innovation hub for BP.
No, that's fantastic. And I know AI is a buzzword, but you're truly upskilling your people. Varsha, what about leadership development? Are you also focusing on building the next generation of leaders over here?
Absolutely. I think the key success factor in our industry has been in the cultivation of leadership that is needed at a global scale. What we are seeing also in the industry is more global leadership roles are now getting housed in GCCs, and BP is no different. We have definitely leaned in this opportunity. So we are recruiting and nurturing senior leaders here with the support of the wider organization to take end-to-end business accountability, process accountability from the hub. What this creates is a pipeline and an opportunity for the next level of talent. And we have been investing in our frontline leaders, in our senior level leaders through a variety of programs, leadership programs, culture programs, as well as investing quite a lot on a high potential talent. So we do have differentiating programs for high potential talent, which take them on a fast track journey. For all talent, we have a combination of functional and leadership and change management, which becomes really, really important. And we are also doing some targeted learning on skills like AI, like project management, agile, etc., coupled with our ambition to build a very inclusive organization. So we do have a lot of focus on our gender ambition and building a female pipeline of talent for the future.
That's fantastic, Varsha. To build further on that, how are you integrating your talent with the broader global organization?
Yeah, so, BP's Business and Technology Center is an integral part of the larger BP organization. We have all the global programs very well integrated within our own organization, which means people get access to all the development and leadership interventions which are rolled out globally. The other aspect of this is that our teams are very well integrated into the wider business, which means our center teams also sit into the wider BP leadership teams at a functional or a leadership level. And this gives them the opportunity to be very close to the business or functional priorities and own the problems and solutions in their respective areas. So this brings about a very integrated way of working, which means that we are all working towards the same strategy and the same outcomes.
So, Varsha, in terms of, we spoke about integrating the talent, but how do you ensure that people get the right context about the core business?
So this is a very key and fundamental aspect of our success. Unless we get our teams fully integrated to understanding the business context, the priorities, it's very difficult for us to succeed. So we do use a lot of interventions for that and very, very intentional learning and development. So for example, our induction program focuses on a lot of business induction where people are able to interact with business leaders, understand the business context at large, understand what are some of the challenges and priorities of the business. So that's the first thing, which is structured learning. The second is ongoing engagement. So we ensure ongoing engagement between the business leaders as well as our teams. So like I said, selective travel where people can go and witness the business, experience the business. And then when our stakeholders travel, we ensure we are always having a discussion around the strategy and talking about the real challenges that the business is facing.
Varsha, if we were to zoom out a bit now and think about the opportunity which lies ahead for the industry to become the innovation nerve center for the global organizations, what is that the industry needs to do?
It's a very, very interesting and a very relevant question, Aman. I think what's important is it's an inflection point right now. The pivot that the GCCs will need to take in the next phase of evolution, especially in a very dynamic environment and with AI looming ahead of us in terms of the overall fabric of businesses changing with the AI interventions. GCCs can continue to play a very, very important role within larger organizations. Why? Because I think the access to talent as well as the digital adaptability mindset that the teams have can continue to be leveraged for this new opportunity. People are hungry to learn about AI and grow with that. So I think GCCs must leverage that opportunity. There is definitely a wider opportunity to further nurture and build talent. And I think it's important that we leverage public partnerships, private partnerships, for example, university partnerships, working with industry bodies to make sure that we are preparing the talent of the future to be employable and relevant for the skills that are needed. So the talent aspect will become key and core to the next stage of GCCs. The second thing that I think is important is definitely the leadership. We touched upon the fact that there's global leadership now housed there. We need to continue to have seat on the table. We need to continue to have end-to-end business process accountability and business outcomes accountability. That's what will continue to drive the success. So more empowerment for the leadership and more engagement, at the top is going to be pivotal to the success. And then finally, how we adapt into this AI world, right? Because the operating model is likely to, dissipate and reimagine itself in the future. That's what the prediction is. So the adaptability to change, our ability to be very agile in this world and continue to make sure that we are delivering outcomes. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the outcomes you deliver. And if the business is seeing continued outcomes and continued impact, then I think it becomes very, very fundamental and, almost like a rhetoric in terms of why GCCs should be more relevant in the future. One aspect I think which we talk about a lot is about cyber security and digital security.
Yeah.
This is becoming quite an important topic, and I think, a very dynamic topic here. We need to make sure that GCCs and business and technology centers continue to focus on cyber and digital aspects. Fraud is getting very prevalent, and this is a license to operate in a global world. So making the investments in these tools, technologies, and also mindset is very important to deliver the success of GCCs in the future.
Extremely insightful, Varsha. You guys have done really well in scaling up, and I think the insights that you're sharing. If you were to think about your personal reflections, and you mentioned the last 2 decades, you had the front row seat to witness this entire evolution. What would you think, where would you think the industry is limiting itself? And what does it need to do differently?
Actually, it's a very interesting, great question. Over the past 2.5 decades, I have witnessed, many, many global organizations lean into the opportunity. And they've tried different solutions, right from pure cost arbitrage, outsourcing, managed services solutions, their own captive centers, business and technology centers, and also hybrid sourcing, right? Working with an ecosystem of partnerships like yourself to make us successful. So I think, each organization has developed a fit-for-purpose solution within the time frame and within the strategy. I think what is really important is that the integration of the strategy of the GCCs with the wider organizational strategy and the sponsorship from the top in order to be a strategic intent, that needs to be, one of the key fundamental critical success factors for any GCC. And I think, that sponsorship right from the top and the investment in leadership, in processes, in terms of having this part of your business as well integrated as other parts of the business is really important. My personal reflection also is around the nature of the talent that we have employed. So moving away from very transactional activities to becoming more complex, and now, expecting deeper expertise of the business, of the technology, of the changes has become an hygiene factor. So I think we do need to make sure that our GCCs are constantly evaluating the talent profile, the leadership profile, and the skill profile to continue to stay relevant in the future.
Thank you, Varsha. I think this has been incredible. Lots of insights from building the right talent, investing in leadership, being agile, investing in technology. And I think you touched upon some very critical factors such as cybersecurity, fraud prevention, building the right processes. Thank you so much, Varsha. Really great speaking with you, and many congratulations on building this very successful center.
Thank you so much, Aman. Really enjoyed the conversation.